Hello, I'm RetroJules. Some very exciting news. The Swedish tanks arrive. There you go, I've said it. Mark in your diary, October the 5th, we are going to get a couple of Swedish tanks and a couple of new maps. So most excitingly, the Swedish tanks. Now, there's a slightly different tack to the way these tanks are coming out. You are not going to get the Swedish tech tree. As you know, Wargaming are very much concentrating and churning out shed loads of premium tanks. So you are going to get the Swedish tanks firstly as two premium options. Actually, one hero tank and one premium tank, but of course they are both premium tanks. We are going to get the Stridsvagn Swedish tank destroyer at tier 8, and this is the hero tank, and it's going to be painted rather lavishly in the Swedish flag. And the new Swedish tank destroyer, the Stridsvagn S1, could be your new favourite vehicle as long as you get to know the siege mode mechanics. It can be a difficult tank to master, and switching back and forth between siege modes can lose you valuable seconds. It's got an excellent aim time, penetration and a high shell velocity. Its concealment when moving is right up there with the light tanks, and of course even better when it's stationary. It's got a very good top speed, including 45 kilometers per hour in reverse. As a result of that, it's got a very respectable mobility. Of course there are some downsides to this tank. Low alpha damage, its armour isn't really effective at all, and it's got a very low hit point pool, and most importantly, for a tank destroyer, it's got a poor view range. But the siege mode mechanics severely limit its flexibility. Like all of the Swedish tank destroyers with siege mode, the Stridsvagn S1 trades typical tank destroyer flexibility for engaging targets at long range and passive spotting. The Stridsvagn S1's speed helps it reach advantageous positions quickly, and its concealment helps keep it unlit even when the enemies get close. When it comes to shooting, it's highly accurate with a high shell velocity, and good penetration will help negate the issues that come along with long range firing. However, siege mode severely limits the S1's ability to engage in short to medium range combat. Primarily, it adds an additional few seconds where the tank is completely immobilized, going to and from siege mode and travel mode, which greatly increases exposure time when peeking out of cover to fire. Other limitations include the inability to aim the gun horizontally when you're tracked, and when you are in siege mode, you can only travel at 8 kilometers per hour in forward and reverse. Essentially, if you enjoy its playstyle and aren't bothered by its inflexibility, you'll probably enjoy playing this TD. Now, this spells danger for me. World of Tanks is about to turn into a world of triangles. You're going to want to be the first person to get a Swedish tank and be out there on the battlefield, so you are going to part with your hard-earned money for this. And these are absolute buggers when they're in siege mode. They are so flat, there's hardly anything to hit on them. So if you're not going to buy one, then be prepared for an awful lot of triangles out there in the battlefield. Go onto YouTube, go onto the PC videos and look up the weak spots of the Stridsvagns, and then you will know how to take these flat little buggers out, because there are going to be a lot of them. And secondly, we get the Stridsvagn M42-57, the tier 6 premium medium tank. It's got an enormous clip potential and a great reload of less than 16 seconds with a good crew. One of the best aim times and good accuracy for an autoloader at tier 6 with good penetration. It's a relatively small target especially when compared to the other tier 6 mediums. However, it's got very thin armour and a low health pool. You get frequent module damage, and the engine can be damaged from the front. It's got mediocre gun depression and elevation, poor dispersion values, and below average mobility for a medium tank. If you like sniper vehicles and know how to play them, then the Stridsvagn M is a perfect decision for you. Why does this tank have such a small turret? The answer is practical. Imagine this tank only with turret exposed, then it's a very small target to hit when it is hull down. If you do get this tank, the first step you need to do is mount some decent equipment on it. If you have a good amount of credits, get some binos on it, a camo net and a gun laying drive. If you don't have a lot of money, buy a spool liner, camo net and ventilation. If you don't have any money to spare at all, because you've just bought your tank, just let it be and try to play it well. The first step to know is that this tank is a sniper. Stay in cover and only move when there are few enemies and you can move to another point of cover. So that's the two Swedish tanks. What I haven't mentioned is they also come flat packed. You will get a bunch of hex keys and some very good instructions of how to build them. And if you get stuck, you can always tuck into some meatballs and chips with some nice lingonberry sauce while you're working out the next move and next stage of how you're going to put your tank together. And secondly, and this is the bit that I'm really quite excited about, so we're going to get 2 new maps, and I'm really excited about these. Well, actually it's one new map, and ready for it? I can hear you groaning already. It's a map variant. We're going to get a map variant of Redshire in 1944, an alternate history version of the original Redshire. And the new map we're getting, and I'm really excited about this one, is Pilsen. I've seen this played on the PC, and every time I see it I think it looks an awesome map. Pilsen is in the Czech Republic, and we are going to get a sort of urban factory area. It's been left to rack and ruin. It's got very much an Eastern European feel to it, and you are going to be threading in and out old factory ruins, hunting out your enemies. So 2 really good maps. Redshire 1944. It sounds like it's a good variant. Variants are a little bit tricky at the moment. You know, variants don't replace old maps, and there's still no explanation as to date as to why the old maps have been pulled. The rumour had it that the map pool was too big for the Xbox 360 to cope with, so they pulled the maps, but we are getting new maps, so maybe as new maps come in, do other maps drop off? Who knows what's happening with map rotation and map news, but I am really looking forward to playing Pilsen. And Redshire is one of the old original maps actually that I've always enjoyed, and to see a new version of that will actually be quite exciting. And just finally, to wrap up, Halloween is round the corner. I've got my Craft Panther, and I don't have many premium tanks, but I quite like the Craft Panther, and I do quite like it when it goes into monster mode and it comes alive. And we are going to get 2 new monster tanks. So currently we have the Gorninch KV5, we've got the Kaiju OE, we've got the Lycan, they're around a lot these days, and of course the Revenant Crafts Panther. Well, in addition to those, we are going to get the Hollenhund M4190, and we're going to get the Dragon Type 62. So for you tank collectors out there, in this October, effectively you have got 4 new premium tanks that you are going to be able to put into your garage. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Are you looking forward to a new premium TD? Are you going to look forward to seeing that top line full of triangles, full of Swedish triangles, all in siege mode, hiding behind ridges, hiding in bushes, potentially it could be a little bit of a nightmare, but there we go. In the meantime, keep safe, keep tanking, and I'll see you soon.